This is the family police say hate destroyed. 15-year-old Yumna Afzaal, honor roll student. Her mother, Medea Salman, a writer and engineer working to complete her PhD. Grandmother Talat Afzaal, who loved the family's evening pandemic walks. And Salman Afzaal, father, husband, son. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight we are once again in London, Ontario, a city where people are shuddering with grief.
We are a strong community. We belong here. This is our home.
And through it all, a community stands together in the face of the hate, the violence, and the fear.
I've never felt afraid of living in London before.
Muslims aren't safe. They aren't. They aren't safe. Muslims are not safe in this country.
Tonight, reflections from those who knew the family and blunt talk about what racism and Islamophobia in particular look like in this country.
Action needs to be taken here. We can't see this pattern happen over and over again.
It has no place here in London, Ontario, no place in Canada. We won't stand for this anymore.
I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing. Also tonight, looking for guidance. Canadians want to know what they can do after their second shot.
I'm anxious to know what happens now. I want to go see my son.
And Canadian businesses prepare for the tourists.
If a Canadian spends $100 a day, an American will spend $500.
Hoping to avoid another lost summer. This is The National.
And this was the London Muslim Mosque tonight here in London, Ontario, the place where the family killed and injured in Sunday's attack worshipped and went to school. Tonight, it is where their community gathered to honor the 4 members killed and the little one, the 9-year-old child who survived. Tonight, outside that mosque, there was a powerful crowd made up of community members, faith leaders, politicians, including the Prime Minister, first responders, students, devastated friends, all of them paying tribute, calling for change, and holding each other up.
What I want to offer is a message of hope. A hope that this gathering today represents a pivotal moment.
And underscoring really the importance of this event, the need for it, pandemic restrictions were actually amended today to allow for it to happen. Tonight, we will take you through what happened here, along with how people are remembering the victims and how Muslims across the country are reacting to all of this. We begin with the family at the center of this story. 3 generations stolen away with a single brutal act. Makta Gabrasalasa joins us now. Makta, what have you been able to find out about this family?
Well, we learned that the family arrived from Pakistan in 2007. 46-year-old Salman Afzaal, he was a physiotherapist. He worked with seniors, and he was a very kind person, is what we hear. His wife, 44-year-old Medea Salman, she worked in environmental engineering. We hear that she sparkled and that she was generous, and she was pursuing her PhD. And then Salman's mother, Talit Afzaal, she enjoyed the evening walks that the family would take, something that became a regular routine during the pandemic. And then, of course, there was the 15-year-old teen who was a bright light and an artist. In Yumna Afzaal's hands, the world was filled with so much promise. Her vision, excellence, integrity, respect, and honesty.
And I think about the 4 virtues that are listed on this wall, how we need to embody them, how we need to bring humanity back and continue our fight against hate.
Asad Chowdhury is the principal at the London Islamic School. 15-year-old Yumna was a student here with her brother until she graduated last year. She left behind a gift. She and her mother painted this mural. It is now her legacy.
It means the world, and it really is telling of the fact that we lost true gems of not just our school community, but community at large.
The community is crushed by the deaths of Yumna, her parents, and her grandmother. Her 9-year-old brother, the lone survivor, remains in hospital.
The family is a very integral part. They're very active members of our community.
Hassan Mustafa knows the family from the mosque. He is rocked by the revelation that police believe the family was targeted because of their faith.
As a father, I feel it's my job to protect my family. As a community leader, I feel it's my job to protect my community. And so it's tough. It's a tough day. It's a tough week.
Tonight, at the site of the attack, people paid their respects.
Honestly, I think we all feel some personal connection to this, whether or not we're from this faith, whether or not we know this family. We're all part of this community and we all care about them.
To get here today, I walked. And a couple of times I stopped and waited for the light to turn green. And I never once thought about my personal safety. And everybody deserves that same right.
From there to where a vigil was held, the hundreds in attendance listening for words of healing.
We will not cower out of fear.
To this community, which has made London stronger for generations, and to all Muslim Canadians, we are with you.
We have to commit ourselves to working across party lines, with premiers, with mayors, with faith leaders, to end the kind of violence and hatred that took these lives.
Everyone hoping to one day see a world as beautiful as Yamna Afzaal created.
So Magda, obviously the road has opened up. People are still leaving flowers, but just a few hours ago we were standing here together. I know you walked through the crowd, and I'm wondering, when you were there, what did you take away from that experience?
I was just amazed by how many people came. There was a sea of people, all ages, all races, all faiths, coming together to support the Muslim community and honor these lives lost. But at the same time, people were saying it shouldn't have come to this. This support should have been there before this happened. So it was mixed emotions.
All right, Magda, thank you very much for everything. So back where this horrific story started, at the intersection where 3 generations of a family were killed deliberately, police say, people are still leaving flowers, leaving signs, and they're grieving. Thomas Degla updates us on what we know at this point about the investigation and the man who stands accused.
Police spent the day at the suspect's London apartment, seemingly gathering more evidence as investigators consider whether terrorism charges are warranted. They haven't called this a terror attack, but they do consider it pre-planned and fueled by hate, pointing to the investigation as a whole rather than a note or a confession.
The culmination of all that information led us to believe that this was hate motivated.
Police are sure to be retracing Nathaniel Veltman's connections in Strathroy, a small community outside London where the accused has family and where he worked at an egg farm. Another question investigators will want to answer: how a man is radicalized to the point of violence.
It is rarely purely alone. You almost always find influences, either things that the person read. Personal connections are a key driver.
Police said the accused wore what looked like body armor, and that can provide important insight, according to this leading criminologist.
This individual fits, at least speculatively, as into the pseudo-commando subtype, which is an offender who puts a lot of pre-planning. They have a fascination with sort of the gadgets and paraphernalia of military and police.
So Thomas, there's a lot of learning to come yet on this. Where exactly is the case going next, though?
We know there is a court appearance on Thursday for the accused. He stands accused of 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The RCMP is coordinating with local police on potential charges related to terrorism, but those have not been filed yet. CBC News asked CSIS, the intelligence agency, today whether they are involved in this investigation. They didn't say yes or no, but they made a point of saying that extremism can come from a variety of ideologies, and it's always fueled by hatred and fear, Adrian.
Always. Okay. Thomas, thank you very much for that. I know you're staying on this. The attack has, of course, reverberated beyond London, Ontario, to other cities, obviously, with vigils bringing together Canadians who are horrified, who are saddened, who are definitely determined to remember the victims and reject anti-Muslim hatred. But Alison Dempster shows us, for some, that hatred is all too familiar, and so is the fear.
Fatima Ahmed and her father attended prayers today with heavy hearts. Ahmed is no stranger to anti-Muslim violence. She's been assaulted by people trying to tear off her niqab 3 times.
If I go to the metro, I'll be standing next to the wall because I know that if I stand next to the line where the metro is coming, someone might push me. And a lot of these incidents happen in the metro, so I look around, I have my phone with me.
In Edmonton, the community has been on edge in recent months after a series of attacks on 5 black Muslim women, including one incident outside a mall where a woman says her attacker ripped off her hijab and shouted racist slurs at her. Police have laid charges in the incidents, ranging from uttering threats to assault.
We're having to teach our daughters and our children to be vigilant.
In response to the attacks, the Al Rashid Mosque started offering self-defense classes for women that will resume after COVID restrictions lift. Still, Muslim leaders are having difficult conversations with young girls who are afraid to express their faith.
We no longer want to wear a hijab. We're too afraid to wear it. What if something happens when I'm walking to school? What if you're not there to protect me? That is heartbreaking to see how this is affecting young girls. This is affecting our future generation.
Today, an emotional condemnation of anti-Muslim violence from Calgary's mayor.
Let's not say that was isolated. That was a bad person. Let's understand that when people of color raise these concerns, let's not say you're oversensitive.
The National Council of Canadian Muslims says from 2013 to 2019, there were more than 300 Islamophobic incidents around the country, including more than 30 acts of physical violence. Alison Dempster, CBC News, Edmonton.
There are overwhelming emotions about what is an overwhelming loss. Today in Alberta's legislature, MLA Rod Loyola spoke from the heart. We want to show you some of that speech for the record.
I'm absolutely heartbroken because when I think about that family, when I think about the Solomon family in London, Ontario, I think of all of the beautiful families that live not only in my riding, but all over Edmonton and all over Alberta. It could have been any one of those families because they were just targeted by the way that they were dressed. It wasn't until I went to go pray my last prayer of the day at the masjid along with my community that I couldn't hold back the tears of sadness and frustration any longer. And as I prayed, I cried, and I cried, and I cried. Because even though here I am in a position of privilege, able to help in the decision-making process, in the democratic decision-making process, I feel powerless. Because we're divided.
Calling for change is a recurring theme tonight. Earlier this evening in London, speakers at the Vigil that happened behind me called for a national summit on Islamophobia, for immediate action from leaders. But Rafi Boudjikanian shows us calls like that have been made before. The action, though, far from immediate.
May Allah heal our pain.
Across the country, shockwaves of grief that reached Parliament Hill today.
We need to recognize mistakes made by the past, learn from them.
The Muslim community in Canada has known a lot of sorrow, and much of it is all too recent.
Canada's a place where Muslims aren't safe. They aren't. They aren't safe. Muslims are not safe in this country.
But this is not the first time anti-Muslim hate has preoccupied politicians. After 6 men were gunned down in a Quebec City mosque 4 years ago, MPs were seized with a debate over a non-binding motion denouncing Islamophobia.
Islamophobia is real.
It eventually passed, but a majority of Conservatives voted against it. Many cited concerns over freedom of speech because it lacked a clear definition of the word Islamophobia. That motion led to a study and 30 recommendations to fight racism. The government has committed $30 million to an anti-racism strategy. Today, the MP that introduced the motion said progress so far is not enough.
It's not going to take just one government and a flip of a switch. It's going to take every single person in a leadership position in our country
So no amount of funding is going to be adequate as long as our leaders continue to only pay lip service.
The Muslim community has paid enough. Here in Ottawa, the public gathered to grieve and call for action.
I'm feeling both sad and angry at the same time.
The government also says it has legislation pending to tackle hate online, forcing social media platforms to better police themselves. But there is no timeline attached, and an election this year could disrupt those plans. Rafi Mujikani, CBC News, Ottawa.
The hearts in this community are very heavy. There is real exhaustion in a city disgusted by the murder of 4 family members. A little later tonight, we will speak with someone who knew the family well about his memories of sweet conversations with dear friends. We'll bring you that and much more from London, Ontario. Until then, Ian, we'll send it back to you in studio with more of tonight's news.
Adrian, 2 paramedics have been found guilty for not doing enough to help a teenager with a gunshot wound. Yosef Al-Hasnawi was shot and killed in 2017. As Ellen Morrow tells us, a judge ruled the paramedics failed to give him proper care that could have saved his life.
Finally, a reprieve after years of mourning for the Al-Hasnawi family.
They are guilty. You know, I'm not concerned if they take 10 years in jail or 1. I'm not about that. It's just justice done. I'm happy. Thank you so much.
Former paramedics Christopher Marchant and Stephen Snively found guilty of not doing enough to save Yosef Al-Hasnawi, the teen dying of a gunshot wound to the abdomen when they arrived. Al-Hasnawi had just left his mosque there behind me on the night of December 2nd, 2017, when he saw 2 younger men accost an older man on the street. Al-Hasnawi tried to intervene, but that's when the deadly altercation happened, and he was shot near this intersection behind me.
Code 4, penetrating wound.
Just minutes after that dispatch call, Snively and Marchant got to the scene, but the judge found they failed to take Al-Hasnawi's wound seriously. The teen should have been immediately transported to Hamilton's trauma center just 5 minutes away. Instead, paramedics took 23 minutes to leave, lifted him improperly, and brought him to a different hospital. Witnesses said first responders accused the teen of faking.
When he's telling you I can't breathe, if he's hurt, just take him to the trauma center. Do your job.
Snively and Marchant said they believed the wound was superficial after bystanders said Al-Hasnawi was shot by a pellet gun. But the judge said they should have erred on the side of caution, finding they listened to rumors and innuendos, called their failings a conscious decision to ignore training and standards, and deprived Yosef of his only chance of survival.
Yosef was an angel.
Today's verdict, Al-Hasnawi's father says, brings some closure.
I believe in Allah, and I believe Yosef is in a better place now.
Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Hamilton.
The encouraging signs are continuing in Canada's battle against COVID-19. Cases are down, vaccinations up. About 24 million Canadians have received their first doses. That makes this country one of the world's leaders, though when it comes to second doses, just under 3.2 million have been administered. Officials say that number should climb soon. As for new daily cases, there were 1,270 today, the 4th straight day under 2,000. That improving situation has brought more freedom, but also some confusion. So far, Ottawa has issued no guidelines on what fully vaccinated Canadians can and can't do. Christine Birak looks at the frustration.
With doses rising, Canadians are asking, what can I safely do?
I'm anxious to know what happens now. I want to go see my son.
Charlie Bartlett is now fully vaccinated. So too is her son, a paramedic in Alberta. Question is, when can he visit her in New Brunswick?
My son wants to come home for a week for a visit. It's been almost 3 years since we saw each other.
Some doctors say it's time for Canadian health officials to do what the U.S. has already done and simplify things. American guidance states if you are fully vaccinated, you can resume activities you did before the pandemic. 2 weeks after the second dose, no masks or physical distancing except where required by law or local rules.
I would just take the American document from the CDC and copy and paste it and put a Canadian flag on it.
My vote at the moment is that we don't do that yet.
Some doctors disagree, pointing out that 42% of Americans are now fully vaccinated. That's more than 5 times the number in Canada. And there's another inequity. Workers whose lack of sick pay made them vulnerable to the disease could get left behind again because they can't take time off for a shot.
I think in terms of both control of the pandemic and of trying to be equitable about how we're all getting through this, that people who've had 2 doses really need to just be in solidarity with the rest of us.
We need people to get the full 2 doses.
The Prime Minister insists updates are coming.
I think we all understand that we want to get back to normal. We want to start traveling again.
Still, Bartlett says she'd like to know when that might happen.
If it's only a couple of months difference, then I'm okay with waiting for everybody else.
Like many Canadians, she just wants something to look forward to. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
As vaccination rates climb in both Canada and the United States, there's growing pressure to reopen the border. Ottawa says that will happen carefully. But Canada's hard-hit tourism sector is pushing for a specific timeline. Diane Buckner explains.
In normal times, more than half of Dennis Campbell's business comes from American visitors.
We'd have lots of tourists that would be going out on our tall ship and our other boats.
Now he's eager to set sail again. He believes any fully vaccinated travelers can and should be welcomed with open arms.
Double vaccination is proving around the world to be effective and successful for safe travel.
Today, Ottawa said border restrictions may be eased, and soon, for anyone fully vaccinated. The Prime Minister offered no hard timeline, but said he'll have more announcements on easing restrictions in the weeks to come. Details can't come fast enough for those in the struggling tourism business.
The industry has been crushed, and we cannot lose another summer.
Today, Canada's National Tourism Association kicked off a lobbying campaign calling for clarity. It wants Canadians to write to their MPs to say the time has come to reopen the border. The economy depends on tourism.
If a Canadian spends $100 a day while they're on vacation here at home, an American will spend $500.
But business operators say they need time to prepare, ideally 4 to 6 weeks.
We have to bring back staff, we have to retrain them, hire new staff.
On Vancouver Island, this hotel is already staffed up. Its owner is feeling confident.
So we are ready and raring to go. And that is a bit of a gamble on our part. But it's a gamble that we're willing to take.
In a week's notice, we could be fully operable.
Dennis Campbell and all the tourism operators we spoke to are eager and want the border to open as soon as it's safe. But they believe that time is almost here and needs to be properly spelled out. Diane Buckner, CBC News, Toronto.
We're going to return to our top story, a community and a country in mourning after the mass killing in London, Ontario.
Ian, the loss gets so much more personal for people here, the more we all learn about the family.
So kind-hearted, somebody who would never wish ill for anybody.
Up next, my conversation with a close friend of the family, struggling to figure out what to tell his own kids.
Plus, the warning signs that never made it to those on the front lines.
USA! USA!
A new report details the intelligence breakdown that led to the attack on the U.S. Capitol. And
every minute, companies would have been losing, thousands, if not millions of pounds.
How a company you've probably never heard of brought down some of the biggest players on the web. We're back in 2.
Welcome back. We're in London, Ontario tonight, where earlier, just behind me, thousands of people gathered outside the mosque to honor the victims of Sunday's attack. 4 family members killed and a young boy injured because of their Muslim faith. That horrific event has affected people across the country. And ceremonies of mourning and solidarity have taken place from coast to coast to coast.
My nieces, my nephews, my extended family have shared their worries to their parents that, Mama, do I look too Muslim?
they're doing nothing, and they could be like any other family. They could be someone I know, they could be my parents, they could be anyone. That could be you. If you're wearing a religious symbol and someone sees you in the street, and like if they did that to another family, who's to say that someone else won't do that to you?
I think something needs to be done to make sure that everybody feels safe, and I would really appreciate it if I knew, or if I had some sort of a security that, you know, if I'm leaving the house, then I am safe when I'm outside. It's just very sad that I even have to consider that, you know, I am afraid now that I am wearing it and I have to go outside. But I would never consider taking it off or anything of that sort, because it just makes me who I am. It is my religion, and I'm very proud of that.
I'm lost because we were shocked to hear this, and when we were watching news, he was with us. So he's listening to all these new words about hate crime, Islamophobia. These terms, they don't need to be here in this world to live in.
It's hard, and sometimes it's doubly hard when you're a person of color. We're all Canadians, no matter whether you wear a scarf on your head or around your neck, it doesn't matter. We need to stand and be Canadians and say, we're not taking this.
How could some people be so mercilessly taken away just because they're Muslim? And you coming here together to share in our loss, to share in our grief, it hardens us like you wouldn't believe.
Our mothers, our sisters, when they go out with their hijab, they are being taunted.
And now nobody is safe, you know. We don't know who's gonna come and kill us.
We are connected, regardless of our tribe, regardless of our skin, regardless of our belief, regardless of our language, regardless of our sexual identity, regardless of our nation, regardless of our blood. We are one.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
While communities seek comfort, this is also a time of really personal grief for those who knew that family. People who counted them as friends, who shared meals and laughs and dreams. I spoke earlier with Dr. Ahmed Hagazi, a friend of Salman Afzaal and his family. How did you find out?
So I was at home, and some of my friends from the community were texting and sending around pictures, and it didn't hit me that they were actually talking about Salman, my friend, until later, reading through the texts, when they started talking about how devastating this was. And then I discovered the details of it, and it just shook me. It didn't feel like London. We were family friends. We lived close by. Families visited often. My wife and Salman's wife, Madiha, were good friends. The kids knew each other.
I don't know how old your kids are, but have you been able to have this conversation with them?
So my wife and I decided to not tell our kids just yet. Our oldest is 11 years old, and we've got a 9-year-old as well. So we felt it may be best to just put this off for a bit, let it cool down, and then at some point they'll find out, and we'll have to have that discussion with at least our 11-year-old, and basically explain what happened and explain that this is not normal and this is not what Canada's like, and that you should still feel confident in yourself and in your culture, and you should not be scared to walk down the road or play in the neighborhood. For me, it's a personal tragedy, but I think the issue goes beyond that for a lot of Muslim community members who didn't know Salman as well as I did. And for them, it's a matter of, are we still safe here? Can Muslims wearing a hijab walk down the road without feeling threatened?
How did you come to know Salman?
From the mosque. So it was 14 years ago. I went to the mosque and I met him for the first time, and our friendship grew over the years. Such a death for somebody who's so kind-hearted, somebody who would never wish ill for anybody.
What was his story?
So he came from Pakistan as a physiotherapist, sat through his credentialing exams, and he was able to secure a job in Woodstock, and he was working around London for a while. And he was still working as a physiotherapist recently, and his wife was doing her PhD in civil engineering. just an aspiring family like any other newcomers to Canada to build a future for their families, for their kids. Whenever we'd get together, it would basically be discussions about the community, the life in Canada, how are we going to help our kids maintain their culture, maintain their identity.
How was your wife managing?
She was shocked, and same as me. She didn't feel like, how could this happen? Is this London? What's going on here? For a 20-year-old to be filled with such hate, to get in his car and kill a family just based on the way they looked. There's something fundamentally wrong about what our kids are hearing, what our kids are being brought up in. The media for a long time, I think, has not been portraying Muslims in the right light. There's been a lot of vilification going on. There's a lot of us versus them, and it never should be that way. It's just shaking all of us, really.
And were you able to sleep last night?
Very little. Very little.
Dr. Hegazi isn't alone in his fears about Islamophobia in the community. Today, a startling admission and an apology from a former political candidate here in London.
I'm sorry that I haven't stood up more in the past, but all I can do is try and change that going forward.
Next, a conversation about the undercurrent of hatred faced by Muslims in Canada. We are back here in London where the vigil is over for the evening, where there have been tears or there moments of solemn silence, but also moments of breaking silence. Take Jeff Bennett. He ran for a provincial seat here in London in 2014 for the Progressive Conservatives. His predecessor, Ali Chabar, a Muslim man. Well, today Bennett shared what he heard from his own supporters when he was running after Ali Chabar. Volunteers who left because the campaign office felt, quote, like the Middle East. In a scathing post, he wrote, "This terrorist may have been alone in that truck on that day, but he was not acting alone. He was raised in a racist city that pretends it isn't. I've come face to face with anti-Muslim attitudes in London, Ontario, and said, thank you for your support. I'm so very sorry." Bennett's recognition of that hatred, something Mustafa Farouk of the National Council of Canadian Muslims has been calling for from all Canadians. Earlier, I spoke with both of them. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us. I just want to explain to people, because the space here is so tight and we can't socially distance, that's why we have to wear the masks. But we have to be together because this is a conversation we have to have. Jeff, you wrote some pretty startling words about your experience door knocking in 2014. Can you give us a sense of what you saw, what you experienced then?
Well, it became evident when I first started canvassing that I had a very different experience from the candidate in the election prior to me. And it was unique because Ali Chabar had run in an election 10 months prior to me because it was a by-election. So it was still fresh in the minds of everyone at the doors that Ali had knocked on their doors. And very early on, when I would knock on the doors, I would get a lot of comments like, oh boy, this is a surprise. We're excited to see you knocking on our door. And Jeff, I remember people saying, oh, Jeff Bennett, that sounds like a great English name. And just those sorts of comments. And the first couple, you're like, that must be a once-off. But it happened enough over the span of the campaign that I came to realize that Ali's experience running in London West was very different from mine for reasons they should not have been.
Mustafa, I know you read that post, and I wonder, when you read it and when you listen to what Jeff's saying, how recognizable is that language to you?
So, first of all, I think I have to commend Jeff for having the courage to stand up, and that's what every Canadian needs to do. Canadians need to stand up and confront racism and Islamophobia when they see it as they see it. In terms of how recognizable this is what Canada has unfortunately become. This is not what any of us thought of. This is not what any of us think of Canada, but this is what, and unfortunately, how things have become. This city, London, has seen Pegida marches regularly. Other kinds of horrible, racist, white supremacist, Islamophobia-fueled things. It's not acceptable. It needs to stop. And it's, by the way, and it's not just a London problem. This is a Toronto problem. This is a Montreal problem. This is a Quebec City problem. This is an Alberta problem.
It's a Canada problem.
This is a Canada problem.
So, Jeff, it's one thing to write that, but I think the question sort of I have, and you probably have it for yourself, is what did you do about it in the moment? What do you wish you had done?
I wish I had spoke up more and used my voice more to address this. And that's even why I wrote this morning, because I think it's ridiculous that here we are in 2021 and this is still an issue that my friend Ali Chabar faces and that this entire community faces. And the rest, like people like me who grew up in a much more privileged position, we've just become too accepting of it. And I hate that it takes something, we're being reactionary here. Like it takes a travesty for us to stand up and say, oh, something needs to change here. I was aware of this 7 years ago. We were all aware of this 5 days ago. And yet it takes this for us to gather. I wish I had have spoke up more 7 years ago.
Is that the right approach?
I think that's definitely a huge part of it, but there's so much more that needs to be done. There's white supremacist groups that are actively militarizing, over 250 of them. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And it's something that has just become an accepted part of the Canadian experience, that we can have a group that calls itself the Klan, that calls itself the Soldiers of Odin, that calls itself the 3%ers. And we're okay with that. That needs to change because for us, it's like you have to have people die for someone to say the word Islamophobia. Mm-hmm. That's not okay. It needs to change.
Let's talk about that word, because in that mosque are politicians. We know that 91 politicians a few years ago, Aaron O'Toole was one of them, did not sign on to a motion condemning Islamophobia. What is the net effect of that?
I mean, I think, obviously, I will note that Aaron O'Toole has now utilized the word Islamophobia. So has Blanchet, who historically did not use the word Islamophobia. There was a unanimous consent motion in the House today about it. But at the end of the day, the stance then was totally inappropriate. Today, the barest acknowledgement of the fact that this is happening is like, yes, it's the bare minimum, but it needs to go so much further than that. Just like we're now in the position of having to thank people for saying that racism, that hate, that Islamophobia is a real thing.
Astonishing. One last thought, because we began with you. Do you have any thoughts for for the people here, Jeff?
All I can do is offer apologies that more hasn't been done, and that's what I even wrote in my post. I'm sorry that I haven't stood up more in the past, but all I can do is try and change that going forward. And I think we need more authenticity out. We need to recognize that this is systemic racism. It's embedded in our society, and we need to take steps every day. All of us need to look in the mirror and realize that we're a major part of it.
Personal steps.
Personal steps.
Gentlemen, again, thank you very much for your time. Very sorry that we're all here like this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll be back with more from London, Ontario a little later. Stay with us.
Welcome back. In the United States tonight, reaction to a Senate report into the storming of the Capitol. It says there were clear warnings leading up to January 6th. But as Susan Ormiston tells us, there was a broad breakdown of communication.
2 weeks before this, Capitol Police intelligence knew Trump supporters were planning to storm the Capitol with weapons, but it underestimated the threat and failed to pass it up or down the security chain.
Clearly a failure of leadership. I want to be clear, the men and women of the Capitol Police that were out there defending the Capitol and the men and women who were in the Capitol did heroic actions.
Law enforcement entry! DSO, get up here!
Capitol officers were grossly ill-prepared. Only 10 were fully trained to use all the non-lethal munitions for riot control, and much of their equipment was defective or out of reach that day.
This was like the Super Bowl of domestic terrorism, and there should have been planning ahead.
The report also faults the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, who alerted Capitol Police of potential, quote, war, only the night before and almost casually in an email.
It was just amazing that intelligence did not get in the right hands.
Our country has had enough.
But nowhere in the report is any critique of Donald Trump's role.
A credible report.
Time to move on, according to Republican senators,
Mr. Bennett,
who just 10 days ago blocked any independent commission into January 6th.
But out of fear or fealty to Donald Trump, the Republican minority just prevented the American people from getting the full truth about January 6th.
Today's report on the attack was the most extensive yet, but deliberately steered away from the contentious questions in order to get bipartisan support. Democrats have not backed off, but Republicans aren't budging either, saying the dozens of recommendations plus federal charges against more than 500 people are enough. No need, said one Republican senator, for political voyeurism. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
A major technical glitch knocked web giants like Amazon and CNN offline today.
Welcome to Fastly, where we make websites, the Internet of Things, APIs, and mobile apps fast and secure.
Coming up, what happened? Welcome back. We all know how frustrating it can be to lose internet service at home, but what happens when an outage hits global web businesses like Amazon or PayPal? Well, today it did. Renee Filipponi takes a look at the fallout.
One after the other, major websites went down across the globe. E-commerce giant Amazon was hit, along with social media companies, major news organizations, even the UK government. The culprit? A glitch at a tech company you probably haven't heard of.
Welcome to Fastly, where we make websites, the Internet of Things, APIs, and mobile apps fast and secure.
Fastly runs a cloud-based service that's used by major companies. It is essentially the middleman between the companies and the consumer to make the service faster. This morning, in a tweet, it blamed the outage on a network issue and was able to get things back online in about an hour.
There are just a small number of companies that do this en masse, and we rely on these companies. There are huge companies out there that will clearly rely on them to do one part of the delivery of the content.
This cybersecurity expert says there have been similar issues with other cloud servers, but if this one lasted longer, it could have been a disaster.
Every minute, companies would have been losing, well, thousands, if not millions of pounds, especially for e-commerce sites. And so, yes, a very dangerous and worrying time for those who are in control of it.
But there are also issues with public confidence and concerns about how a glitch at one company can have such a widespread impact.
It explains the increasing distrust that we have in large organizations and government and experts and scientists, because consumers perceive these companies as having so much power and information and resources, and they can't keep their own system operating.
It's estimated the outage cost retailers nearly $2 billion. Analysts believe it's possible some of the big web companies could come after Fastly for compensation. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
When we come back, we'll return to London, Ontario, and hear from a city in mourning.
Welcome back. We are once again in London, Ontario tonight. Extraordinary scenes earlier as thousands of people gathered for the vigil outside the mosque here to mourn and to honor the lives of the 4 family members who were killed on Sunday. Tonight, we turn over the end of our program to the people of this city and this community.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
We're all hurting. I mean, these are our brothers and sisters.
الصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين.
I can't even wrap my head around it. It's too much.
يقتل في سبيل الله أموات.
It's not a matter that it could have been me. It was one of us.
ولكن لا تشعرون.
This is our city. We're not going to let hate scare us or intimidate us or divide us.
أولئك عليهم صلوات.
Adrian, so many eloquent voices at that vigil. What stood out for you?
I think, Ian, some of the conversations that we heard and had on the sidelines of watching it, people saying sorry to other people for not calling out racism, for not calling out Islamophobia when they heard it in the past. Like acts of saying, that was wrong. I needed to do that and I will do better. And it's not something you hear often enough. That is a national for June the 8th. Good night.